It's fall! Yay! Technically speaking, fall doesn't happen until September 20th, but you know what? It's September. I have my pumpkin spiced latte and this cute mushroom bear mug. I have a scarf on. It's cold and rainy. It's fall. It's fall. Hi, Nonfiction Melita, and this is my channel, The Midnight Librarian, and today I will be doing my September TBR. So I kept debating if I even really wanted to do a TBR, mostly because towards like mid-August, I'm like, I don't want to read anything on my TBR, and completely just went off the rails in terms of just not wanting to read anything, not wanting to read anything on my TBR, not finding audiobooks that I really wanted to read. Also, my apologies for the quality of the audio. I didn't even bother with a mic. University started. It's been a time. I'm taking a class this semester, so that's going to be a time. Thankfully, it's an asynchronous class, and it's Indigenous Ethnobotany, so I'm pretty excited about it already. So that's why I've been gone. It's because work has been chaotic, and getting back in the swing of being a student has been chaotic, as well as just things going awry at home. Our fridge went out, our washer went out, everything decided to stop all at once. So I've been mentally and financially drained. So hopefully you're doing well. So I filmed this a couple times because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do a TBR, mostly because I don't really know what I want to read. If you hear a sickly cat moaning because she feels neglected, that's all it is that she feels neglected. She's not sickly. In fact, she has the zoomies right now. And she thinks that I forget that she exists every 5 minutes. So ultimately, what I'm trying to say is, yes, I'm doing my Pokemon cards choose my TBR, but please bear in mind that I'm in a weird state, and what I might pick out for today might not be what I actually read for the month. So why even put a TBR? Because I still like some kind of structure. It's nice to know, like, actually I'm not in the mood for that. Let me choose something else. And then have some kind of basis in terms of my prompts associated with the Pokemon types to be able to choose from, if that makes sense at all. Whatever. Okay, so hi, if you're new here, it's not normally this much chaotic. Also, we're in a slightly different location just because this is a mess, because my life's a mess. But when my 10-year-old niece comes in and goes, my mom just had me clean my room, this is the opposite. Yeah, I'm aware that I'm a mess right now. Also, hi Kayla, if you're watching. She recently found my YouTube, so hello to my favorite niece. I'm gonna do my Pokemon trap cards, choose my TBR. If you have not seen this before, playlist is above as well as down below if you want to check it out. But ultimately, I have Pokemon booster packs that I randomly choose from. I have a variety of them, and there's prompts associated with the type. And yeah, anyway, so let's go ahead and mix these up. I am missing one, mostly because I don't want to pick from it right now. It's the one, I forget what it's called, but it's the one I picked all year last year because that's all I had. It's the one that started it all. What is it called, actually? Evolving Skies. Don't have it in here. I still have it in my box, but I'm tired of looking at those. So we're gonna go with one of these. Silver Tempest. Sweet. Yeah, Evolving Skies was the one that I originally got because my brother gave it to me for my birthday. I'm still not out of them. We'll get rid of this top card, and let's just go ahead and see how this goes. This is Metang, which is a steel Pokemon. I haven't had steel in I think yet at all. I need to look at my prompts list. If you ever are curious, I have the prompts list down in the description down below if you ever want to play yourself. I have at it. Oh, sweet. Steel is a nonfiction. Perfect. I was just thinking, how can I get more nonfiction on my TBR? I'm being serious. I enjoy nonfiction. I've been in a weird nonfiction slump lately. Right now, that's like all I seem to want to read and listen to. For September, For Matang, I actually want to go with Sleeping with the Lights On. The Unsettling Story of Horror by Daryl Jones. And basically this is just like the fascination with horror, the fascination with scaring ourselves. There is not a synopsis on here, but that's what I understand this book to be. I think it's a really cleverly like formatted book, but I've also just been curious about it because I am very much in the spooky, it is fall season mood, so this is what I'm going to go with for my take. Alrighty, starting off great. I probably just jinxed myself. This is Toxapex. Interesting. Okay, so that's the evolved form. Okay, I've been seeing these occasionally on Pokemon Go, so which I haven't been as into lately. I just haven't had the time, but I've been seeing the first evolution of Toxapex, which is Mariani. So I've been curious because I don't have enough to evolve it yet. So this is interesting. Okay, this is a dark Pokemon. Dark Pokemon is to read a horror. Perfect. There is one in mind that I want to read. I'm a little intimidated by it though. So, and I actually forgot to haul it in my last haul. So this was an anticipated release. It released back in August, but this is Whalefall by Daniel Kraus. This cover, gorgeous. Hardcover. I thought for some reason I was expecting a paperback, and I think it was just, I think when it comes to more obscure titles, that's tends to be what I think is like, oh, it's paperback because it's going to be indie published. And no, this is actually MTV Entertainment Books, so that's interesting too. This is following a scuba diver who ends up diving to find the remains of a body, only to run into a giant squid, only to be eaten with the giant squid, and is now in the stomach of a sperm whale. He has an hour left of oxygen, and he has to find out how to get out of the stomach of a whale. This scares the hell out of me. This is the reason why I don't like the ocean. This is the reason why Pinocchio, it still remains the scariest Disney movie to me. This is just overall frightening. So I'm a little intimidated and freaked out by this, but I'm excited to get to it. Like I said, I forgot to haul it. It did come out in August. But yeah, it'll probably be in my next haul. But there we go. That's what I'm going to do for Toxapex, which I think is also like, given the ocean vibes, I think it's gonna work. So far so good. This is Professor Laventon. So this is a trainer, is a mood read, and I'm just gonna put what the book I'm currently reading is right now, and that is Night Raven by Sarah Painter. This is one that I did haul recently. I just picked it up last night on a whim, really, because I wasn't feeling the book I was reading. I just wanted something to read before bed. I'm like less than 10 pages in, but so far it's interesting. We are following Lydia, who is not as powerful as her family, who is more than slightly dodgy, which is why she lives her life as a private investigator as far away from London as she can get. But she ends up having to come back as the head of her family calls in a favor, and she has to start looking into the disappearance of her cousin Maddie. But soon Lydia is neck deep in problems. Her new flatmate is a homicidal ghost. The intriguing but forbidden DCI fleet is acting in a distinctly unprofessional manner, and tensions between the old magical families are rising. So this is a relatively long series. So this is the Night Raven. There is 8 books in the series. I haven't really looked into it. I thought this one just sounded interesting, and it has a relatively cool cover. So, and it's relatively short. So that's what I'm picking for this mood read. Okay, this is a fighting energy card, and basically energy cards are, I take the cover that is on, or the color that is on this card. So in this case it's fighting, so it's browns, and I find a cover that matches, or, you know, has brown tones on it. Okay, I may regret doing this because this is a bit of a chunker, but there are brown tones here on the sides of Crescent City by Sarah J Maas. I have not read a Sarah J Maas before, and this one's a chunky one. I don't I think this is is it Paranormal? No, I think this is like romantasy. Bound by blood, tempted by desire, unleashed by destiny. Bryce Quinlan had the perfect life, working hard all day and partying all night until a demon murdered her closest friends, leaving her bereft, wounded, and alone. When the accused is behind bars, but the crimes start up again, Bryce finds herself at the heart of the investigation. She'll do whatever it takes to avenge their deaths. Hunt Athalar is a notorious fallen angel, now enslaved to the archangels he once attempted to overthrow. His brutal skills and incredible strength have been set to one purpose: to assassinate his boss's enemies, no questions asked. But with a demon wreaking havoc in the city, he's offered an irresistible deal: help Bryce find the murderer and his freedom will be within reach. That's all I know. That's all I really want to know. Like I said, haven't read a Sarah J. Maas before. I haven't been interested in any of her other series, but this one, mostly the cover really intrigued me. Also, the fact that Syd from Syd BookWorrom finds this series like one of her top favorite of the year or of all time intrigues me. So I'm hoping I'm able to get to this, because already that's 4 physical books, and I just based off the last couple months, it's gonna be a lot. Okay. Next. This is Lilligant, which is the second evolution of Petatil, which is a grass Pokemon. Grass Pokemon is to read a book with botanical stuff on the cover. So for this, I'm going to actually pick another nonfiction, just because for some reason via audiobook, that's all I really want to read right now. So for that, I'm going to pick The People's Hospital, Hope and Peril in American Medicine by Ricardo Nula. This is narrated by Ricardo. It's about 10 hours and 53 minutes, which will probably be a little shorter than that just because I read it out or listen to it at 1.75 speed. Here we follow the lives of 5 uninsured people who live in Houston as their struggle for survival leads them to a hospital that prioritizes people over profit. First, we meet Stephen, the restaurant franchise manager who signed up for his company's lowest price plan, only to find himself facing insurmountable costs after a cancer diagnosis. Then Christian, a young college student and retail worker who can't seem to get an accurate diagnosis, let alone treatment, for his debilitating knee pain. Geronimo, 36 years old, has liver failure, but his meager disability check disqualifies him for Medicaid and puts a life-saving transplant just out of reach. Roxana, who's lived in the community without a visa for more than 2 decades, suffers from complications related to her cancer treatment. And finally, there's Ebony, a young woman whose high-risk pregnancy endangers her life. Whether due to immigration status, income, or vagaries of state Medicaid law, all 5 are denied access to care. For all 5, this exclusion could prove life-threatening. So I think this is going to be one intense. Yeah, triggering. I ended up going through emergency surgery a couple months back and have been trying to navigate health insurance in terms of making sure that everything that can be paid for is paid for. Thankfully, I think in my circumstance, it was relatively easy fix. However, just going through the little bit that I did, it's complicated, and they really just try to make it feels as complicated as possible so that you ultimately have to pay the bill. I think this will be intense. It has floral elements on the cover. I think this will be a really interesting read, so that's what I'm gonna go. This is Chinchu. Oh, I just caught one of these on Pokemon Go. This is a lightning Pokemon, and it's a reverse holo. So lightning prompt is to read a quick read, whatever that means to you, and a reverse holo, which is what this is to read a backlist book. So for Chinchu, I'm actually going to do a reread, and that is going to be for Chew. This is a graphic novel, Volume 1, the Omnivore edition, and basically we are following Tony Chu, who is a detective with a really kind of morbid secret. Anything he eats, he can get psychic impressions, and basically he's a psychopathic. It also means he's a hell of a detective as long as he doesn't mind nibbling on the dead body. So I've read this before and I really enjoyed it. I do have volume 2 now, or have had it for a bit now, but basically want to catch up with it and hopefully get volume 3 at some point. But yeah, I just want to, I remember it being actually fairly not only like creepy but interesting, because it's like this horror element with food. So that's what I'm gonna pick with Fortune 2. This is Rotom, which is another lightning, so another quick read is perfect because I'll go ahead and throw on Chew Volume 2 of the Omnivore edition. I don't know quite where it's going here. I know that Volume 1 kind of left me on a cliffhanger, but I don't remember what it was, so I think this will be good. Swablu, which is a normal Pokemon, so that is to read a contemporary. No, I know what I want to do now. So this is going to be another nonfiction. It's also going to be one that is essentially rolling over. I can't remember if this was, did I put this? I had filmed and refilmed my August TBR so many times. I can't remember if this was officially on my TBR or not, but I want to read The Curse of the Boyfriend Sweater, Essays on Crafting by Ilana Okun. This is a relatively short nonfiction. It's kind of self-explanatory, but I'll go ahead and read it. People who craft know things. They know how to transform piles of yarn into sweaters and scarves. They know that some items, like woolen bikini tops, are better left unknit. They know that making a hat for a newborn baby isn't just about crafting something small, but appreciating at the beginnings of life, which sometimes helps make peace with endings. They know that if you knit your boyfriend a sweater, your relationship will most likely be over before the last stitch. Ilana Okun knows that crafting keeps her anxiety at bay. She knows that no one will ever be as good a knitting teacher as her beloved grandmother, and she knows that even when we can't control anything else, we can at least control the sticks, string, and fabric that right in front of us. So I think I had this on my Magical Readathon TBR. I can't quite recall, but this one, I recently re-listened to the sample that Libro has and think it'll be a good read and be relatively like lighthearted comparatively to The People's Hospital. So Murkrow, which is a dark Pokemon, which is to read a horror. So I think for Murkrow, I'm going to go with Certain Dark Things by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I do have a physical copy of this. I just don't know where it's at currently. But this is a fantasy horror with vampires, and I guess it's more urban fantasy. Welcome to Mexico City, an oasis in the sea of vampires. Domingo, a lonely garbage collecting street kid, is just trying to survive its heavily policed streets when a jaded vampire on the run swoops in to his life. Adel, the descendant of Aztec blood drinkers, is smart, beautiful, and dangerous. Domingo is mesmerized. Adel needs to quickly escape the city, far from the rival narco-vampire clan relentlessly pursuing her. Her plan doesn't include Domingo, but little by little, Adel, I'm probably saying that wrong, I apologize, finds herself warming up to the scrappy young man and his undeniable charm. As the trail of corpses stretch behind her, local cops and crime bosses both start closing in. So I think this will be really interesting. I've been wanting to read more of Silvia Moreno Garcia's work. I know I still have Mexican Gothic, but for some reason that one's really like just not speaking to me. So we're gonna go with Certain Dark Things instead. So this is Litten, and it is a fire Pokemon, and fire Pokemon is to read a book that everyone's talking about right now, or has been talking about, like a popular book right now. It'd be real easy just to throw on Mexican Gothic right now. But, so for Litten, I think what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to place a hold for Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. It says it's about a 4-week wait. I'm hoping it's going to be sooner than that, because there's currently 8 books out and I'm the fourth person in line, so hopefully I'll be able to get it a little sooner. I think it's a possibility. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to go with. I haven't been interested in this one, but I really did enjoy Daisy Darker. And I know that Jan from JanAgaton has been going through Alice Feeney's backlists, so I'm fairly curious about this one. I know it's not as talked about now, as everyone preps for her new release, but everyone was talking about this one. This one came out. So rock, paper, scissors. Do you think you know the person you're married to? Think again. Things have been wrong with Mr. and Mrs. Wright for a long time. When Adam and Amelia went a weekend getaway to Scotland, it might be just what their marriage needs. Self-confessed workaholic and screenwriter Adam Wright has lived with face blindness his whole life. He can't recognize friends or family or even his own wife. Every anniversary, the couple exchange traditional gifts: paper, cotton, pottery, tin. And each year, Adam's wife writes him a letter that she never lets him read until now. They both know this weekend will make or break their marriage, but they didn't randomly win this trip. One of them is lying, and someone doesn't want them to live happily ever after. 10 years of marriage, 10 years of secrets, and an anniversary they would never forget. So, I think this will be interesting. We have two narrators for this, Richard Armitage and Stephanie Racine. So hopefully this will come in sooner rather than later. But that's for Lytton. And then my final Pokémon card. Oh, look at that! We get the first stage is Petilil. So this is another grass Pokemon. So it's to read a book with Flora on the cover. And for this, I have a book that I currently have in my list that's due here in about 2 weeks. And that is Broken in the Best Way Possible by Jenny Lawson. This does have floral elements on the cover. I also have a physical copy of this, but I do currently have it in my audio, through Libby. So I have read a Jenny Lawson before. I can't remember. It's the one with the mouse on the cover. But this one, as Jenny Lawson's hundreds and thousands of fans know, she suffers from depression. And Broken in the Best Way Possible, Jenny brings listeners along on her mental and physical health journey, offering heartbreaking and hilarious anecdotes along the way. With people experiencing anxiety and depression now more than ever, Jenny humanizes what we all face in an all too real way, reassuring us that we're not alone, making us laugh while doing it. From the business ideas that she wants to pitch to Shark Tank to the reason why Jenny can never go to the post office, Broken leaves nothing to the imagination in the most satisfying way. And of course, Jenny's long-suffering husband, Victor, the Ricky to Jenny's Lucille Ball, is present throughout. So yeah, I didn't mind the one with the little rat on it. Like, there was some weird stories along with it, but there were also things that I didn't agree with her on. I don't think I gave that a rating because it's ultimately a memoir, the same with this one, but I think this will be interesting. I know that Jan from JanAgaton loved this, and apparently that's what I'm basing a lot of my TBR on off of. I'm mostly just curious to see, because I know there's a few things that Jan and I don't agree on in terms of books, and I don't think I have the same taste as her, but I'm still curious in where our commonalities are. That's what I'll pick for Petilil. Outside of the audiobooks, these are, yep, you can kind of see, there we go, the books that I plan on reading for the month of September, maybe, hopefully. I'm pretty excited. Like, at this moment I am really excited about it, but I was excited for this other pile right here too. And I filmed like a week ago, and this week I'm like, I don't even want to. So we'll see how it goes. If you've read any of these, let me know your thoughts down in the comments down below. Please, no spoilers. Otherwise, I hope that you are in the mental mindset to enjoy your reading. If you made it this far, thank you so much. I'm going out of order. Let's go ahead and put your favorite fall floral type of emoji. Leaves, the fall leaves tend to be the first to come to mind, but also, like, I don't know if you can see it from here. Sunflowers are a good one. Otherwise, be sure to like this video, subscribe if you have yet to do so. Thank you for bearing with me in my weird short mental health break, and I hope that you, hope to see you in another video very soon. Cheers.